So, something a bit different now. Tier list. Season M3, the third season in Pokemon Champions, in case you can't tell from the number, it's upon us. And what they've done is they've introduced some of the new Megas from the Legends Z8 or Z8 games, as well as reintroduced some older Megas. So, if you're new here, my name's Ocean. Been playing competitive Pokemon 15 years at this point. World's competitor as well. Don't have access to an official circuit where I am in the world right now. Hoping to fix that within the next couple of years and get back into real world tournaments. But for now, we've got the YouTube channel. It's all good. And so I've scoured the databases, the extensive knowledge from over the years. And I know what the meta is going to be in the first few days. I know what it's going to become after a couple of weeks. And I know where it's going to end up by the end of this season. And I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you that now. I'm going to tell you where all the Megas rank. And I've also chucked in some of the top Megas from our first two seasons. And where they're going to fit into all of this. I'm going to try and keep it short. Try not to waffle for these. So we're going to try and keep it so like a maximum 2 minutes per Pokemon. You can see they're down at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so let's jump into it. So you know how tier lists work. We've got our tiers on the left there. Top tier threats. They're always going to be the gold standard. The top of the mountain in this meta. Very strong Pokemon. They're only going to be like slightly weaker than those top tier threats, but still very, very good for various reasons, which we'll get into. Solid. They're going to be good picks. They're never going to reach. You can never say never. It's going to be difficult for them to get onto a team that is like meta defining. Speaking of meta defining, so the next two tiers. I've got meta trend dependent. So there are going to be Pokemon that the meta's just evolving so fast now that Pokemon Champions is upon us and everyone's playing it. And we see a lot of cyclical trends, right? So this team and these Pokemon come in, they're super strong. Oh, everyone's countering them online with these Pokemon. There's this massive shift here. And it's like, okay, now we need to counter these Pokemon with these Pokemon. And it goes around and around and around. And that's where these Megas are gonna go into this tier. The ones where they might not be great in the beginning, they might be okay here. They're going to be great here, but when it comes back around to here, they're going to be not great again. So that's what I mean by meta trend dependent. Then we've got the niche picks. These are Megas that kind of don't really fit. I mean, it's in the name, niche. They have a very specific role, a very specific thing they can do, and maybe have trouble really finding a place in the meta, but they're not necessarily bad. And in the bottom tier, they're just awful. These Pokemon are either going to struggle. Well, I mean, they're all going to struggle to win consistently, in my opinion. It's not that they use them if you want, but they're not going to win consistently, and they might even be outclassed by their non-mega counterparts. Now, I am only talking about the online ladder, so best of one, closed team sheets. Although a lot of this would apply to tournaments as well, and of course it's only double battles, because despite my vast ocean of knowledge that I mentioned earlier, when it comes to singles, it's more like a puddle in the hot sun. That's how much knowledge I've got there. I've been dabbling though. Anyway, let's get into it. Okay, we're starting off with the most uncontroversial take going. Metagross is going to be a top tier threat, so its stats are just insane. What is it? Defenses are like 80 HP, which is his lowest stat. 80, 150 defense, and 110, I want to say, special defense. Crazy bulk going on there. And then you're looking at, what is it, a 140, I think, attack stat with a Tough Claws ability to boost its damage even more with contact moves and base 110 speed. So, a monster, absolute monster. All of its moves are 100% accurate now. In the past, I forget which it had trouble with. I think it might have been Zen Headbutt. It didn't have access to Psychic Fang, so it could miss the Zen Headbutt. Now, it's got Psychic Fangs, which is going to be great as well, because what they called? The rocks... No, not the rocks. The light clay, sorry. The light clay has been introduced back into... The light clay? Light clay has been reintroduced into the game. And we're going to be seeing quite a bit of light screen and reflect, especially now we've got Grimmsnarl around as well. So Metagross can break that and just threaten damage on everything. It also has incredible coverage. It's got Ice Punch. It's got Thunder Punch. It's got Rock moves as well. So you're going to be guessing at times... Oh, I wonder if this can actually knock out my Charizard if you're running Charizard. Maybe it can't, but there's only one way to find out, and that's to see what move it's going to use. Having said that, I don't even think that's necessarily its best set. Again, base 110 speed, base 150 defense. It gets access to body press and iron defense. So even things like Garchomp, which is going to be everywhere as usual, partly because of Metagross. It's going to be able to get iron defenses off early, and then things like Garchomp and King Gambit are not going to be able to do much against it from that point onwards. So yeah, top tier threat, not much more to be said there. From uncontroversial to maybe a bit controversial. So we've got, what is this one? This is Mega Raichu Y, I think. This is the one with no guard as its ability. I'm going to say, okay, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it has the potential to be solid. I don't think it's very strong. In terms of meta ranking, it is strong. Literally, it is strong. Base 160 special attack, base 130 speed. Very, very good. Does not increase its defenses at all from being a Raichu, so it is incredibly easy to get knocked out. And also, again, because Garchomp's going to be everywhere, you'll see Scarf Garchomp at some point, and it's going to knock this thing out in one hit. Having said that, it does have some real power. Focus Blast. It can't miss, of course, with its moves, as we said. It's always running Zap Cannon, so it does a ton of damage and will guarantee paralysis on your Pokemon. Paralysis has been nerfed, though. A lot has been said about this Raichu ahead of time on like Reddit and forums and stuff. Oh, it's going to be amazing. It's not going to be amazing. You are going to see it everywhere for the next few days, though, and you're probably going to continue to see it outside of Master Ball rank, and maybe very, very, very low down. On Master Ball rank. And when I say low down, I don't mean like high rank, like low numbers. I mean high numbers, like your 100,000 to 50,000 mark. You'll probably see it. Having said that, I do think with support, it could be really quite good. Again, Light Screen and Reflect come in here. A Fake Out partner, it gets Nasty Plot as well. And then it also gets access to Fairy moves. It's got Dazzling Gleam, it's got Alluring Voice. So it can even damage Garchomp, knock out Garchomp after a Dazzling Gleam, after a Nasty Plot boost as well. But players are going to have to learn how to really use it, and at the moment, I think they're probably just spamming the Zap Cannons and the Focus Blasts. Probably a lot of them running Fake Out and no Protect as well. So yeah, for now, you see it coming. You're going to knock it out. It's got potential to be reached, but it's not going to be reached just yet, and that potential is for it to be a solid Pokemon. Next up, let's talk about the other Raichu. So this one, it's borderline between these two tiers. I'm going to put it here in front of the other Raichu. This one is quite solid. Borderline very strong. Maybe not. Maybe not. It's almost there. What does it have over its counterpart that's maybe put a bit higher? So defenses, 60, 95, 95. Much more respectable. Of course, the HP is always going to be low. That doesn't change. But 95 is respectable and can be worked with. 110 base speed, it is speed tying with Metagross. 110 is shared with a couple of other Pokemon as well, which is unfortunate for those Pokemon, because again, Metagross is there. But Raichu is one of them. But it is, as we know it, as far as we know, right now it's the only terrain setter in the game with Electric Surge upon Mega Evolution, unless things change with like Musharna and Vileplume, because those have also been added to the game. And those, you know, from afar, it kind of looks like those could have Psychic and Misty Terrain and Grassy Terrain respectively. But we'll see. For now, as far as we know, yeah, this is the only terrain setter in the game. So it's boosting those electric attacks. It also has access to Volt Tackle. Base 135 attack, so it's going to hurt. It hurts a lot. Again, screen support is just going to help as well, so it'll be able to take a hit much better than Raichu Y. But having said that, I think it's going to be difficult to use. People are not going to figure it out early on because the Volt Tackle, it's a recoil move. It's going to do a ton of damage back to itself. It needs to be knocking things out in one hit. One thing I will say is as the meta develops, here's what I think we're going to see. In the beginning, Mega Metagross is going to be everywhere. Then we're going to see an uptick in rain teams, because things like Swampert are going to counter or check Mega Metagross. They're going to counter Raichu. And then from there, we're going to get the Charizard teams. The Charizard teams are going to have Venusaur. And then in order to stop the sleep spam, stocks for this Raichu go up a bit. So that's what's going to happen. So it's also meta trend dependent as well. But it is a very solid Pokemon overall. Next up, let's talk about Barbaracle. It's a niche Pokemon. It's going to serve you well every now and again. It's going to be fun to use. Very respectable stats across the board. Its attack and its defenses, they're pretty good. The problem is, its speed's nothing to write home about. It's 88 base speed. And it gets a Tough Claws ability, which shares Metagross and is a good ability in general. Having said that, I would want to run Shell Smash on this because it does learn Shell Smash. The problem with that is you're lowering your defenses, which isn't the end of the world because you can protect it. But then the moves that you'd want to be using after a Shell Smash, things like Earthquake and Rock Slide, they're not contact moves, so they don't get the boost from Tough Claws. So in my opinion, what is its best set will lose out by not utilizing its ability. Of course, you can use Close Combat as well. When it comes to fighting moves, I think it gets Close Combat, Superpower, and Cross Chop. But you're not going to be using Cross Chop unless you want to miss your moves. And you're not going to be using Superpower unless you want to lower your attack. But you're taking further defense drops on Close Combat, so it's going to require really clever positioning. But could be a lot of fun to play, honestly. And if we see an uptick in King Gambit is always going to be around, I think, as long as Metagross is relevant, then Barbaracle counters it pretty much perfectly. Next up, let's talk about Scrafty. I'm going to put him on the lower end of very strong. Scrafty is a great Pokemon in its base form already, because it gets Intimidate, gets Fake Out as well. Of course, Scrafty stocks went down a ton with the introduction of the Fairy type, but with Metagross dominating in this meta, we're going to be seeing a lot less Fairy type moves. Well, a lot less Fairy types, we should say. Fairy type moves are, again, always going to have a niche as long as Garchomp's around. So, again, it gets Intimidate in its base form. Already has good defenses. Gets really, really good defenses upon Mega Evolution. Its attack stat becomes pretty good as well. I think it's like 135. Or around that, 125, 135 are its attack and defenses. And crucially, it gets 10 extra base speed. So base form's 58, Mega Evolve form is 68. So you can use it in Trick Room still. That's slow enough to be used in Trick Room. But this really makes its Dragon Dance set viable as well. So you can lead it against physical attackers, get the Intimidate, Mega Evolve, you're getting the defense boosts as well, and you're getting the chance to set up with a Dragon Dance, and then you've got recovery in Drain Punch, you've got big damage in Knockoff as well. The only thing I would say is, oh no, if you're running Dragon Dance, you probably don't want to run Knockoff, to be honest, because I think it will still struggle with Metagross, honestly, otherwise. Because Knockoff ain't going to knock out Metagross, because you can't knock off the Mega Stone, so it only does its base 65 damage. But I think a very strong Pokemon overall, and again, could be used to facilitate setting up Trick Room as well. I think in Trick Room, it's decent. It's very good in Trick Room, but at the same time, if you're getting Trick Room up, you really want to be using things like Torkoal that are better than very good in Trick Room, that are like top tier in Trick Room. But yeah, great Pokemon overall, very versatile. Okay, next up, let's talk about one of my favourite Pokemon, Staraptor. I'm going to put him in the very strong tier. Again, this is a Pokemon that it's going to be, I think, quite difficult to use. So Staraptor, it's going to be difficult for it to fulfill its potential, but when it is fulfilled, it's going to be very strong. So Pokemon that gets Intimidate in its base form, always great. It's base 110 speed. Again, it's part of that little club with Metagross and one of the Raichus. The problem is, it doesn't hit anything for super effective damage. No real meta-relevant threats. It's going to be good into things like Sinistra, but when it comes to like things that can knock it out in return, like Metagross, it's going to have a bit more trouble. The good thing is it gets Contrary upon Mega Evolution, which is a great ability as well, because it gets Close Combat and it becomes Fighting type as well. So it's capable of two-shotting, I think, pretty much anything that that doesn't resist its attacks. But again, it can't heavily threaten a lot of the Mega Pokemon. Non-Megas, it can, like I said, Sinistra. Annihilate, now I think about it as well, is pretty good. But you need at least that first turn to get the boost, not take too much damage in return. And then you're probably running Brave Bird as well, so it's taking a lot of recoil damage as well. I think it's going to be very tough to fully realise. It does get Tailwind though, also gets Quick Attack, which is a nice option. Yeah, I think this is going to be a difficult Pokemon to use, but very strong. Having said that, Base Form Staraptor is also very good. It's one of the best Final Gambit users in the game outside of, what is it? I think it's got the third highest HP of all Final Gambit users. Annihilate is at number 1, and what's the other one? Veluza is at number 2, but Veluza's pretty slow. So, yeah, Staraptor very fast, base 100. So, yeah, Scarfed Staraptor has merit as well, so maybe you want to use that over the Mega Evolution. The only ones faster are like Dugtrio and Hot Take. 35 base HP, you don't really want to be using Final Gambit on a Pokemon like that. Anyway, that's Staraptor. Next up, I've been singing a lot of praises, so it's time to switch things up. Malamar. Jesus, man, what happened to you? I mean, it wasn't like you were that amazing anyway. Very interesting, unique Pokemon in general, with Contrary in its base form. I've looked at its stats and its moves. I don't understand. Its highest stat is its special defense at 120. That's not bad. Its second highest stat is its attack at 103 or 102. What's that all about? It's supposed to be a Mega Pokemon. And honestly, again, with its moveset, I don't know what it's supposed to do. The only move it gets, as far as I can see, that's benefiting from Contrary is the superpower. I'm pretty much speechless, to be honest. Not speechless. There's not really much more to be said. Just use base form Malamar if you're going to. It's taking up your Mega slot. I think it's going to be awful. I think it's going to be rubbish. And while we're on this roll, next up, let's talk about Mega Dragalge. So Mega Dragalge only barely gets out of the awful tier. Honestly, niche. The niche this Pokemon fulfills is if you want to be boring and have a slow-ass game, you use Mega Dragalge. That's really harsh sounding, but honestly, that's how I feel about it. So it's base 44 speed, same as its pre-evolved form, pre-Mega Evolution form. It's pretty strong. I think base like 132, special attack. Nothing crazy for a Mega Pokemon. Decent defense, is very good special defense, but it's so slow, so you have to use it in Trick Room. And not only that, because regular Dragalge gets adaptability, it's weaker than regular Dragalge as well. Gets Regenerator, so it's kind of made to be switched in and out and in and out. A pokey Pokemon, does that make sense? You send it out, you poke a little bit with it, you retreat it, you get the Regenerator healing, you send it back out again at some point. But again, you got to do this under Trick Room, because otherwise it's going to be taking hits before it can deal any hits. Yeah, unfortunately, I think that this is right at the bottom end of niche, just barely above Malamar. Okay, next up, so Metagross is looking a bit lonely up there. Mega Swampert is going to be a top tier threat, because as I mentioned earlier, the meta's going to come around pretty quick to rain teams, and when it comes to Swift Swimmer users, we now have Mega Swampert, so it can outspeed the Raichus, which again are going to be popular because it's everyone's new toy. They're everyone's new toys. Threatens Mega Metagross as well. Gets things like Bulk Up, has access to Wave Crash as well. So yeah, it's capable of really outputting some massive damage. I do think that it's going to get more difficult to use as time goes on, because the way I see it is it's gonna reach a peak after a couple of weeks, and then within a few weeks after that, the Sun teams are going to become really popular with the Venusaurs. We'll start seeing a lot more grass coverage, and it's going to be tougher to use on those teams, especially because you're also doubling up on water types already with Pelipper and Swampert. You might want to run Basculegion as well, because Basculegion is always going to be decent when it comes to using Last Respects. So yeah, that's Swampert. Having said that, will be a top tier threat. Has great coverage. Of course, gets Ice Punch as well. Help deal with Garchomp. Yeah, Mega Swampert. Okay, while we're in Hoenn, let's talk about Blaziken and Sceptile as well. So, Blaziken. Oh, God, where do I put Blaziken? Blaziken's between... No, not even... Blaziken's low end of solid. Now, the reason I say this is because Blaziken is a solid Pokemon overall. Gets speed boost ability in its pre-Mega Evolution form and post-Mega Evolution form. So can snowball pretty quick. The problem is, doesn't have access to like good spread moves. Has access to Swords Dance, which is pretty sick. But the biggest problem with Blaziken, in fact, because of this, I'm actually going to move him down to niche, because he is niche for this exact reason. The problem with Blaziken is now that Life Orb is back in the game, which is an item that I wish we didn't see, that is an actual hot take. But the reason why I wish we didn't see it is because it invalidates some Megas. Like Mega Garchomp, you just run regular Garchomp now, because as well as being faster, it's also stronger, because you put Life Orb on it. And that's exactly the same thing with Blaziken as well. You can just run regular Blaziken, mixed regular Blaziken with a Life Orb, and then you've not lost your Mega slot. So unfortunately, an actual Mega Blaziken is pretty niche, but having said that, I do think it's a really fun Pokemon to play. But unfortunately, yeah, becomes invalidated a little bit because of the Life Orb. But of course, it's a fire type, so, you know, in a meta with Mega Metagross, you can always pick it up and give it a go. And then there was Sceptile. I think Sceptile is going to go... he's also going to go down there with Blaziken in the niche pile. So again, He's going to become popular once the rain teams start becoming popular, because the rain teams are countering the Raichus. The Raichus are still around though, because they're going to be ever present. What counters Swampert and the Raichus? Oh, Mega Sceptile does. Although it kind of also doesn't, because of things like, as we mentioned, the fairy moves that the Raichus get as well. But it certainly has a niche to be played. Outside of that though, not the best coverage moves. We're looking at things like Metagross and Charizard, which we're going to get to. Charizard's not going anywhere. What's Sceptile doing? I don't think it gets Power Gem. I think it gets some physical rock moves, but you're not running physical Mega Sceptile. So I do think this is a niche Pokemon. Could see usage on. I think it could see usage on rain teams as a secondary Mega, potentially, to help deal with opposing rain teams and protect against. Help protect partners from electric moves if for whatever reason Mega Swampert isn't the better option. Next up, let's talk about Mega Eelektross. So, Mega Eelektross goes in the very strong tier. I think this will be really quite good, especially in the hands of really good players. They're gonna figure out its potential. So, in case you don't know, Mega Eelektross, I thought it was part Ghost type. It's not. It's still purely Electric type. Its ability, signature ability, pretty insane. It's Levitate and Beast Boost rolled into one. So, still no weakness because it's levitating. Doesn't get hit by ground type moves. And when it picks up a KO, its highest stat gets boosted to one stage as well. And I think its attack is like base 145 and its special attack is maybe 135. So can be run physical or special. Gets access to recovery on both sides of the spectrum as well. Drain Punch physically, Giga Drain specially. The only problem is it's not very fast. So again, I think it's around like 88 speed. Around there. Can't remember the exact number. So that will have to be dealt with. But again, you pick up a KO with it off of already strong attacking stats, and you can snowball with it. Also, it has access to a boosting move in Coil as well. So boost its attack, its defense, and its accuracy. Start going from there. The only thing that really hurts it is Wild Charge and Supercell Slam. Of course, notoriously, neither are particularly good moves when it comes to physical electric type moves. They just don't. Good ones don't exist unless you're Zekrom. Supercell Slam, you take recoil if you miss or if you're going to protect. So that's not good. And Wild Charge, you take recoil anyway. So, yeah. Having said that, it does also get access to Ice Fang. So, pseudo Bolt Beam combo there. Yeah, I think potentially very, very strong. And again, we haven't got to it yet, but will help to counter Charizard. Can be used as a check to Charizard if you can position it well opposite it. Speaking of fire types, let's talk about Pyroar. Pyroar is solid. Pyroar is actually very strong. But again, I keep name dropping this other Pokemon, Charizard. Don't know if you've heard of it. Charizard's going to invalidate Pyroar, pretty much, to be honest. It does get a signature ability. I think it's called, what is it? Fire Main or something. Boosts the damage from its fire moves by 50%. It's slightly weaker than Charizard in the sun, but stronger than Charizard out of the sun because of that. When it comes to fire moves only. Very strong though. Base 124 speed. I forget what its special attacking stat is. I think it's like in the 130s, like 132, 134. So pretty good, honestly. And that normal typing is it's both a boon and a bit of a curse as well, because we're going to see ghost types again, like Sinistcha. It's going to do well in Sinistcha and Annihilate, but Annihilate is also a fighting type, so Annihilate might just Drain Punch his face off, but not before taking a lot of damage before it gets the opportunity to do that. So yeah, that's Pyroar. Awful design though, absolutely, like, yeah, don't like it at all. It does get entrainment, which is an interesting option. I think it's a gimmicky move at best, but could be fun, and honestly could maybe be in the very strong tier. Of course, being a fire type, also has the ground weakness, but again, Charizard kind of invalidates it, and like I said, Charizard's not going anywhere. Next up, Mega Scolipede. Unfortunately, he's probably niche. What can we say about Mega Scolipede? He's pretty strong. The problem is he's got a low speed, but regular Scolipede has a speed boost ability. So ideally, you don't want to be Mega Evolving straight away. You want to be like protecting, but that's pretty easy to read on the ladder. You see a Scolipede, you're like, oh, they're probably going to protect turn one. If you're like me, you like to run feint, and then you're like, you know, I'm going to feint that, and I'm going to knock it out so they don't get the speed boost. But you still got to respect it though, because good players, when they're using it, if they're experimenting with it, they might not protect turn one. they might just go in with the Mega or the non-Mega and get some damage off while you're busy targeting the partner. And then it will cause some trouble. So I don't think it's a particularly easy Pokemon to use. Maybe, honestly, maybe it goes in the solid tier, but again, yeah, not easy to use, but there's some fun to be had there. I think it gets Leech Life as well for recovery, so there's that. It gets Swords Dance as well, so it has potential, and you could run it in Trick Room, but then you can't really run its non... Yeah, you could run its non-Mega form, I guess, if you're in a pinch. But yeah, I'd say we're going to move him up. We're going to move him up, actually. You can go in there. I do like Scolipede. So there we go. He's solid, but not easy to use. And with that, I think we're on our final newly introduced Mega Evolution. It is Falinks. Mega Falinks. Where does it go? He goes in the... I think he's got a lot of potential. What is it he gets? Is it Defiant he gets as an ability? Does he get Defiant in his base form? I think it does. Let me check, actually. Let me check real quick. Yes, it does. It gets Defiant in its... It sticks with Defiant upon Mega Evolution. So why is it in the very strong tier? Because it has access to the No Retreat move, boosts all of its stats by one stage, but then you can't switch it out. If it gets switched out, like if it gets roared out or something, gets phased out, it loses those boosts, and then you can use it again when you bring it back in. But otherwise, you can only use it one time per appearance on the field. Base 135 attack and defense, and access to body press. That's pretty sick. Base 100 speed, so a decent speed tier. When at +1, it's going to be outspeeding everything that's not scarfed, pretty much. And yeah, again, body press, so you don't have to worry about things like burns. Oh no, sorry, you do. What am I talking about? Would you run body press if it's got Defiant? No, I don't think you would actually. Forget that. Oh no. You could, because then you're not going to lose you're not going to lose boosts to your defenses from running close combat instead. God, what are we talking about? God, does he know what he's talking about, this guy? What is he making the tier list for? Yeah, I'd probably still run body press on it, and then it gets access to Throat Chop and Knock Off as well. Throat Chop's probably the better option. Will do more damage into Metagross. But yeah, I think potentially a very strong Pokemon, and maybe it gets access to Wide Guard as well. I feel like it does. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, very strong. And now we are moving on to... How many we got down there? 8. Yeah, 8 Mega Evolution. Oh no, sorry. What am I talking about? Mawile. Almost got ahead of myself there. Mawile is a newly reintroduced Mega as well. Where does Mawile belong? I think Mawile belongs in the... solid tier. Because it's very slow, but has access to Intimidate in its base form. So in the past, Mega Mawile has seen usage, has seen good usage in formats with Charizard and with Metagross and with Garchomp. Garchomp's always around. Because it has access to Sucker Punch, has access to Swords Dance. A monster under Trick Room, and it will continue to be so. It fits onto Rain teams as well. So it's not going to be easy to use in the beginning. Again, I think we'll have to wait to see what top players do with it and how it places in online tournaments and stuff. But once we find the keys to that door and that door's open, then you're really going to be seeing a lot more Mawile. So solid, borderline very strong. I do think it's a little bit weaker than before in this particular format, because there's so much that threatens it. That's the big issue. But I could be wrong on this one. It could very well be up in the very strong tier as well. But yeah, Mega Mawile. So let's look at what we got so far. We got nothing in the... I've got my ring light in the way. Nothing in the Metatrend dependent tier. Let's change that. I think Sceptile goes in there. Yeah, that looks about right. So now, on to the Megas that we saw quite a lot of in the previous seasons. Where do they belong? Right, let's start with Charizard. God, Charizard. Here's what I think's going to happen. Charizard's going to fall off a little bit in the early days because, again, we're going to be seeing Raichu everywhere. Once the meta settles down and people kind of realize what they're playing against, things they need to build for, and then the Raichu teams become less of an issue, Charizard stocks go through the roof because Mega Metagross is always going to be around. Again, the Rain teams are going to be coming out, and how do you counter Rain? You set up Sun. And Charizard, as we mentioned, facilitates Venusaur as well. So by the Give it a few weeks, give it a month, and then Tyranitar, what are we talking about? He's next. Charizard is going to be well up there in usage because it's just that good. It's always going to be that good. And heavily threatens. Metagross can knock it out if it's moving first. Does have to be wary of a rock type move, but they don't always carry a rock type move. Will take a lot of damage if it's not attacking first. But we've got things like Tailwind. We've got speed control in the game, so there are ways around it. You can Solar Beam the Swampert as well. You've got Rain Teams swapping in and out all over the place, unless you're like me and you run your Rain Teams with like three different Pokemon with Rain Dance as well. But yeah, Charizard's not going anywhere. So we mentioned Tyranitar. Tyranitar is in the very strong tier. It does quite well in Mega Metagross formats. It does well into Mega Metagross once you factor in Dragon Dance and the threats it provides there. And also, it works well with Metagross. What did I say before? It works against Metagross and works well with Metagross. Sets up sand for Metagross as well. So, God, how many times am I going to say these Pokemon's names? You can run them concurrently on the same team. You can run Base Form Tyranitar alongside Mega Metagross as well. But also, sand facilitates Excadrill. Excadrill is a big problem for Mega Metagross as well. So yeah, Tyranitar, a great Pokemon. Of course, you've got Rock Slide for Charizard. The only problem with Tyranitar is Rock Slide inaccuracy. So even after you Dragon Dance... Oh, is that boost you got there? Oh, that's great. Doesn't mean anything when you miss your moves, though, does it? So, yeah, Tyranitar, great Pokemon. Will continue to flourish against Pokemon that sometimes it shouldn't be flourishing against, but it just finds a way because it's just that good with its stats and its ability and the Pokemon that you compare it with. Oh, and with Tyranitar, we're going to be seeing a lot less fairy Pokemon, as I mentioned before. Speaking of which, let's talk about Mega Floette. So, Mega Floette is... I might be sticking it in there. Can you believe... Oh, God, that was a weird sentence on its own. Can you believe we're putting it in the meta trend dependent? Of course, it's a very strong Pokemon, but we're looking at it within the context of the meta. Mega Metagross everywhere. Charizard's going to pick up in usage. Fast physical threats in things like Garchomp. Yeah, Floette's going to be a tough one to use, particularly early on. I don't think you can get away with running it how a lot of people have run it up until this point, which is to Calm Mind and then running Sinistcha and other redirection alongside it. You're not going to have that luxury anymore. Even if you do get your Calm Minds up, what are you going to do opposite the Metagross? Basically, you need to be running it on a team where the Pokemon alongside it also providing significant threat, which typically they haven't up until this point because it's all on the Floette. It's facilitating the Floette and then just letting it steamroll from there. And they're a Pokemon that's going to have real trouble steamrolling in the current meta. Meta trend dependent because I do think that it could be like a secondary Mega or maybe not a Mega. Maybe its base form can fit onto Rain Teams at some point as well. Since Swampert will deal with poison types. Swampert will scare off the poison, fire, and steel types, and it leaves a door open for a Floette of some kind in the meta. So yeah, I do think it's meta trend dependent. Unless we find a new way to use it. That's not Calm Mind boosting. But yeah, that's Mega Floette. That's what I think is going to happen there. Next up, let's talk about this guy here. I don't rate this Pokemon particularly highly in the first couple of seasons. I think in the first couple of seasons it's solid / goes into the niche category. With that said, I think it goes up there. Did it go in there? And then where's it gone? Oh, he's gone there. He just jumps there to the queue. So Mega Scovillain stocks go up because again, yeah, it's a bit slow, but look at the top tier threats that we've got going on here. Mega Metagross doesn't want to get burned. Swampert doesn't want to get burned. Annihilate, which isn't on this list because it's not a Mega Pokemon, doesn't want to get burned. And Scovillain can force all of them to get burned. So, yeah, Scovillain, I think, is actually a really strong Pokemon. Again, Garchomp doesn't want to get burned either. I don't think it's necessarily the easiest Pokemon to use, but it's kind of similar to Floette, but better in my opinion, in that the Pokemon alongside it needs to have threat, and they can on a team with Mega Scovillain. Mega Scovillain facilitates them as threats, and yeah, for that reason, very strong Pokemon thanks to its ability and Rage Powder more than anything, and of course, Fire type moves, Grass type moves, get it going in in Tailwind. And yeah, dishing damage as well. 3 more. Let's talk about this guy right here. Mega Dragonite. I think Mega Dragonite is not a Pokemon you're going to use too often as a solo Mega, to be honest. And even if you're going to use it as dual Mega, why not just use its base form at that point? I could see it working on rain teams. It is a solid Pokemon, but I think it's more meta trend dependent. Maybe even niche at this point, dare I say it. Ice Punch, Metagross. I know it runs multi-scale, but what is it doing to Metagross in return? Yeah, it gets access to fire moves, but again, you probably want to run this on a rain team so you can use Hurricane as well. Yeah. Maybe I'm being a bit nice here, but yeah, meta trend dependent. I think maybe it is more of a niche Pokemon. It's borderline those two. Could be wrong because it is a Dragonite. It's pseudo legendary. It is very, very strong. But that's where I'm going to put it for now. And that leaves us with these two. Oh god, they are. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a big fan of these two Pokemon, but they're unusable now. Sorry. Yeah, Mega Metagross is here and he's here to stay. Let me reevaluate this. Aerodactyl, unfortunately, you're out there. We don't need you as much now because you're going to get knocked out pretty quick by a lot of these Pokemon. Mega Froslass. You know what? Maybe I was being harsh. Are you niche or are you meta dependent? Because you do got the Shadow Ball. I don't think you're strong enough to knock out Metagross in one hit though, and you are weak enough to get knocked out in one hit in return. Or are you? Because you get the ice, you get the snow boost as well. Oh, maybe I need to rethink this. I thought this was going to be an easy last two to talk about. You know what? I'm going to put Froslass up in solid. I don't think it's the easiest Pokemon to use in this meta, but I do think it has potential between Aurora Veil, Disable, Shadow Ball, Blizzard, again for things like Sinistcha and other flying types. We're probably going to continue to see Whimsicott as well. Yeah, this makes perfect sense. Does one in Garchomp. The only problem is it worth taking up your Mega slot? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Because I do think it can put in a lot of work, but you're going to need to really know what you're doing with it. You know what? The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, oh, let's stick up higher. I'm putting it to the front of the queue at solid. Yeah, I can't justify putting it very strong. Can I? Maybe I need to look at some more calcs. But that's the tier list. That's based on all the current information that, as far as I know, we have. Maybe things will change. Maybe I've missed something. Maybe I'm a noob. You can tell me and let me know. If there's anything you agree with, let me know. Anything you disagree with, let me know. Do consider liking and subscribing. We'll do more videos like this in future as well. I think with each of the new metas that roll around, we'll get some new videos on the go. Thanks for watching. We'll have some teams come in quick time with this series, trying out some of these megas, particularly some in this very strong tier here. I really do want to mess around with. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll catch you in those videos. You take care.